Welcome back to Old Folks Racing PlayStation. Welcome back to the Bentley Continental GT3 Endurance Brexit version from 2016. And what an amazing GT3 car for the old folks to race at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps Grand Prix. Amazing that we have never driven here. And race 1, Diogo Silva is on pole from Cavalla, Jorge Jesus and Darren Head on the second row, with Simon Allen and Scott Davely on the third, and away they go for 8 laps of racing, and we already can see Diogo Silva on the inside of Lassus, and Simon Allen has got contact there with someone, and that was Stuart Brand as well involved in this. But Simon Allen is a driver that has lost the most time. Diogo Silva retains the lead of the race, but look at this, Cavallan and Darren Head, the fast starting Darren Head is also trying to challenge for the lead. Look at that, Cavallan there running wide. What will the stewards think about that? And here comes Cavallan now side by side at Lecombe with Diogo Silva, and I think he's going to make it work because the breaking point is coming, and Cavallan is the new leader. Nice pass there. And look at this, the top 4 are absolutely nose to tail. Cavallan now leading the race, second place man Diogo Silva, but Darren Head has other ideas, and we are still on the first lap already with a lot of action happening here at Spa-Francorchamps. Look at this, Darren Head on the outside there at Bruchel, but that didn't quite work. Now he's coming back at Diogo Silva in that white Bentley, struggling a little bit. Started from pole position, but now he's really struggling to keep the position from Darren Head. Already lost the position to Cavallan, and Darren Head is really committed to gaining this position on the first lap. He knows that the first lap is probably the best chance to do this overtake, as they are already in the last section of this Spa-Francorchamps circuit. Look at this, all sorts of cones flying in the air. Now through Fang and into the Paul Frere curve right here as they enter the very fast section there that leads to Blanchimont. We are still on the first lap, and look at it, the top 3 have checked out from Jorge Jesus in the 4th place. Simon Allen is in 5th, Frankie is in 6th, Scott Davely is in 7th, Stuart Brand that lost time with that spin a la Source is in 8th. With Todd Antonio in 9th place, and they finally get to the end of the first lap at the bus stop chicane that no longer looks like a bus stop. This is Scott Davely, and is trying to get the position from Frankie. That's a battle for 6th place, and Stuart Brand is just behind this pair of drivers. Stuart, of course, not having the start that he wanted, and Scott Davely not having the end of the first lap that he wanted. Presses the reset button, but of course it is somewhat slippery at the exit of that chicane, and Scott, judging by his glass windows, has been making some other contact with other people. Diogo Silva is still being under pressure from Darren Head. And look at this, the top 4 have checked out of the rest of the field, but certainly the top 3 are still absolutely nose to tail now at Lecombe, but now on the second lap. And look at this, Darren Head making a small mistake there. Jorge Jesus is in 4th spot, as everyone seems to have number 85 here, or 84, just with different liveries. The leader does have a different number, 38. That's Cavallan. Cav leading a race for the first time this season, because he did lead very briefly at the opening round at Silverstone, but never managed to lead a lap. So this is the first laps that Cavallan leads in this fall season. Reigning champion Simon Allen is in 5th. He certainly will want to recover from that. Diogo Silva has found a little bit of breathing space there. He's not under immediate pressure from Darren Head, as we are in the second lap already. Only 8 laps here today, of course. We have a shorter number of laps because this circuit is quite long for a GT3 car. That's Stuart Brand. Now Stuart has, well, he's putting Frankie under pressure, and I think he's going to get the job done here in this fast section. That was a good move there by Stuart Brand, up to 6th, and that's not bad for well, someone that actually lost so much time with that spin in the beginning. Scott Davely seems to be always making moves, but he's in recovery mode. He's going through Frankie now, so he's up to 7th. So actually he didn't lose that much time, because he really is now behind Stewart again, and this could be quite an interesting battle to watch. Of course, Scott with the same livery as Kev Allen, but somewhat more damaged car. And this Bentley is really a very interesting GT3 car. Everyone is absolutely loving it. It's slightly different from the other GT3 cars. And here comes Scott Levitt now on the inside at Le Source, but he's already had too many crashes. And someone at the back there, that's Frankie, making a small mistake out of Le Source. And Scott Levitt really seems to have the pace to get ahead of Stuart Brand. Now maybe he can go through this fast section here at the Radion and into the Camel Straight, and he does seem to be right behind, so he could be potentially lining up a move in Lecombe. That's the battle for 6th place. By the way, now this is Stewart already defending on the inside as we turn again to the leaders, and the gap between 1st and 2nd is now 1 second. And again, 1 second. Look at these cones that are used to mark the track limits. Almost no cone is left right now, and look at that cone is seems to have a life of his own, and also wants to race around this circuit. Maybe we could follow the cone in the leaderboard as well. Let's see what sort of lap times a cone can do here. This is Todd Antonio in the 9th spot, Frankie in 8th spot. Actually, Scott Devlin didn't find a way around. Look at that car, absolutely lots of damage. Thankfully we have no damage in Old Folks Racing PlayStation, but Scott Davely really is trying to find a quick way around Stuart Brandon. Look at that, almost running through it there at Fagno, or something like that, like the French say. Now, but Scott really needs to make a move here quite quickly. He does seem to have the pace, and potentially he could challenge for the 5th place of Simon Allen, but he's running a little bit out of time in that slightly reduced version of a Bentley. Diogo Silva here finishing another lap. That's lap number 3 that he finished. Caval, and then they're locking up a little bit at Le Source. That's Darren Head and George Jesus, and George has actually recovered now sometime towards Darren, and let's see if we can have a battle for the podium here. Very strategic race. I think that people are just trying to fall into a rhythm here, as we seem to have a battle for 1st and 2nd, and also a battle for 3rd and 4th. So this could be quite interesting. And then here comes George already putting some pressure on Darren. Darren having to take the defensive line there into Lecombe. Look at this, George Jesus is actually coming on the outside at Lecombe. That's quite a difficult move to execute, but he does seem to have a lot of aggression there to get into that podium position. Darren Head, of course. Oh, look at that, George Jesus makes a trip to the grass. Almost looked as if he had stopped for a quick pee and then rejoined the track. That is Stuart Brand. Look at this now, Scott Levy is coming after him again, but didn't quite work. And look at this, these are exactly the same. No, Stuart Brand now is off the road. He's off for a pee as well, and he takes a bit longer to pee, and basically has actually spun on his own pee. Unfortunately, look at that, he continues to do it, and Stuart Brand disaster there as he loses 2 positions, not only to Scott Davely but also to Frankie, that is up into 7th spot now. Diogo Silva now with his headlights on, just saying to Kev Allen, hey, I'm here, I want that lead of the race, but where can he find a spot to do it? Of course, Lecombe is a good overtaking spot, and so is the bus stop chicane, if you can actually stop the car on time. And look at this, Diogo Silva now really close to Kev Allen as he approaches the bus stop chicane. Let's see what's going to happen. Look at this, Diogo Silva is approaching Kev Allen, and didn't quite work this time round as they complete another lap. Very aggressive there, both drivers through the last chicane. They are already at the end of the 4th lap, which is officially the midpoint of this race, and we continue to have this battle for 1st and 2nd, and then battle for 3rd and 4th. Kev now seems to have opened up a few car lengths. Jorge Jesus also recovering from that P stop and trying to close in on Darren Head again. Cavallen going through Eau Rouge, and then the Radium. Beautiful, this Bentley GT3 here at Spa-Francorchamps. Still quite a lot of laps to go, and still very, very well undecided how this race is going to end, as Cavallen now goes through Lecombe. No! Cavallen, the leader of the race, loses the lead by basically turning right where he should have turned left, and what a disaster for Cavallen. And this is what happened with this car. Is not like the other GT3 cars. It's a much twistier type of car, more difficult to control. And look at that, Cavallen actually lost the position also to Darren Head, and now here comes Jorge Jesus drifting his way there through the Jackie X corner. That looked absolutely spectacular, but it was actually quite a slow way of undertaking that particular corner. So Jorge Jesus actually lost time there, and Darren Head is the biggest beneficiary of all this drama, because not only he got into 2nd place, he also got quite a lead over Jorge Jesus, and Cavallen is the driver that is threatening him now for 2nd place, but Cav just needs to get himself up, and oh, he spins again. He spins again. This is disastrous for Cavallen, and now he does lose a position to Jorge Jesus. Jorge goes into a podium position, and that is going to really affect Cavallen's race. Of course, the first time in the year that he is leading, or he was leading. Now Diogo Silva is in the lead, and let's quickly see what is happening with that gap. That's just under 3 seconds. Stuart Brand now has found he has found the wall again, and Stuart Brand and Cavallen did an exact carbon copy of that spin. As I said before, this car is really quite tricky to control, and some of the old folks are not managing to drive it for more than a couple of laps without mistakes here at Spa-Francorchamps. Of course, very demanding circuit, and really Stuart Brand and Cavallen so far being the drivers that have made multiple mistakes. Let's look at the leaderboard and figure out what's happening with the lead of the race. Diogo Silva is 3.5 seconds now ahead of Darren Head, and already on lap 6, so looking good for another victory, Diogo Silva in Old Fox Racing PlayStation. Darren Head is in 2nd, 3rd is look at this is Cavallen now trying too hard to recover position, and he actually needs to be careful because Simon Allen is not far behind. A more discreet race there by Simon Allen. In 5th spot, 6 is Scott Davely, 7th is Frankie, and 8 is Stuart Brand. Stuart now actually 3 seconds behind Frankie. Let's see if we can still have a battle for 7th place. We still have a couple of laps to go in this race. Quite a tense race in the beginning, but now a little bit more settled, as the drivers now have found their rhythm, their pace, and some of them have been doing mistakes and trying to recover from them. So it will be quite interesting to see what's going to happen in this final couple of laps. With Diogo Silva looking good. Oh, Frankie now is spinning again at the Jackie X corner. Here comes Stuart Brand now, gets the position. So Stuart in up into 7th again. And look at that, Todd Antonio is actually not far behind Frankie, so he could have still a battle here for 8. And of course Stuart has made multiple mistakes, so we could even see a battle still for 7. So a lot to decide in this final couple of laps, as Diogo Silva now enters the penultimate lap here at Spa-Francorchamps. And what the race has it been for the Portuguese driver 4 seconds ahead of Darren Head. Well, it's less now, 3.7, so that the gap does fluctuate a little bit lap by lap. Third is Jorge Jesus. Fourth is Kev Allen, and now his yellow Bentley looks exactly like Scott Davis. They both have been in the wall, so that's a slightly reduced, more aerodynamic version of that car. We don't have a lot of on-track battles right now. Let's see what we could still be potentially looking at. Actually, there's a battle for 7th place between Stuart Brand and Frankie. They are less than a second apart, so we probably should go and focus on that particular battle. I would say Todd Antonio is actually not that far behind, so the battle for 7th is actually quite alive. As we watch Simon Allen in the Camel Straight, the reigning champion of Old Folks Racing PlayStation. Not the start of the season that maybe Simon wanted. He's still not scored a podium, if I'm not mistaken, and now he's going for a P himself, a little P and a picnic, but he rejoins the track quite quickly, as Diogo Silva now is at the end of his 7th lap and going for another victory. Of course, he chose this combo, so we were expecting a good performance from him anyways. That started with potentially a victory. He's 1.5 laps from it, but of course it's looking good for the Portuguese driver, because the gap now to 2nd place is almost 6 seconds, so he's actually extending his lead as the laps go by. And really, in terms of pace, he's the only driver in the 2 minutes 22 in the last lap. A lot of other drivers, a couple of other drivers in the 2:23s, that's their head, and Jorge Jesus with Kev Allen now not having the pace that we saw in the beginning of the race, so he's trying to hold on there till the end. That's Stuart Brand. Now we had seen a battle, but that battle I think has sort of disappeared. Now it hasn't disappeared, because he's now going for, that's not a P, that's something a bit more structural than that for Stuart Brand. Again, he's off the track, and now here comes Frankie again, and also Todd Antonio. And look at that, someone has run wide there. That's Todd Antonio that actually hit the wall. Todd is actually up into 8th place despite that wall contact, and look at that, all sorts of trouble. And now the tire wear is becoming a problem as well. Look at that, these drivers are really struggling to keep it in the black stuff. Fortunately, here in Spa-Francorchamps, over the years, the black stuff extends a bit beyond the track limits, so no major dramas there. But of course, tire wear has become a bit of a problem, as the tire wear in this car is quite consistent and actually quite hard on the last couple of laps of this race. The top 3 seem to be in a stable position. But oh, look at this, Jorge Jesus has now hit there, and look at this, he's going to lose the podium position. This is important, as Kev Allen actually manages to get back into 3rd position, so salvaging a podium there, Kev Allen, due to that mistake by Jorge Jesus, and that's right after Lecombe on the last lap. That's a bit disappointing for the Portuguese driver, who was doing quite a good race till then. Darren Head still on the lookout for any mistakes by Diogo Silva. More than 6 seconds now. I think Darren is resigned to 2nd place now at this point. Jorge Jesus is trying to get back into the battle for 3rd spot, but I think it's a little bit late now. Look at this, Scott Davely almost running off track there in 6th spot. And this has been a good race indeed for the leading drivers of the championship, Darren Head and Diogo Silva. Darren Head currently leading the championship, but Diogo might actually get the championship lead. Of course, early days, only the 3rd race of the season. This is the 1st race of round 2, but it's another victory for Diogo Silva. The guy that chose the combo ends up winning it, and that was a good, solid race for Diogo Silva, that is going to take the checkered flag there and winning again in Old Folks Racing PlayStation. 2nd place, Darren Head, that of course kept Diogo honest throughout. Kev Allen salvages 3rd place, but could have been a victory. George Jesus with that last lap mistake ends up being in 4th spot. Simon Allen, the reigning champion, coming to cross the line in 5th. Scott Davely is going to be 6th. 7th is going to be Stuart Brand after a number of off-track excursions. 8th is going to be Todd Antonio, and 9th is going to be Frankie. The 9 starters are all going to finish this race 1. As you see, Stuart Brand now coming through Blanchimont for to take the checkered flag. It is the last lap of his race. Everyone also finished on the lead lap here at Spa-Francorchamps. Look at this, almost losing it there. Stuart Brand on the last corner at the bus stop chicane, but he does take the checkered flag as well. And this has been a good race here at Spa-Francorchamps. Let's see what race 2 brings us. There is the confirmation of the result. We await more excitement in race 2. Stay with us.